Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Emerging Pod, where we guide emerging people into emerging careers. Today's guest is Rasha Salim. Rasha started her career as a freelance web developer in Iraq before settling in Turkey and eventually entering the world of data science and AI. She is now head of top talent program at Omdena, where she is able to marry her two passions, building AI solutions with a social impact and helping people, particularly the ones who might be overlooked, find their career path in tech. Rasha, welcome to the pod. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having me.
So we connected because we found your background to be quite interesting. You started working in a specific in a field, and then you eventually transitioned into the world of data science and AI through Omdena. You did some volunteering projects, and then through that you kind of developed your skills, built your network, and eventually found work in that sense. So we thought that was a really interesting journey to kind of explore. So do you want to just tell us a bit about kind of your early career? What did you study at university specifically, and how did you find those first steps?
Yeah, sure. So it's for me, ever since I was like a child, I've always I fell in love with the computers when I was like about 8 years old. So I saw the first computer, and it was BASIC at the time, running BASIC, which is a programming language, and then I just like fell in love with I don't know, like writing commands and having things appeared out of nowhere. It felt like this kind of secret language. And yeah, ever since I was like 8 years old, I wanted to be a computer engineer. Like everyone asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a computer engineer. Okay, not a doctor, not a what. It was like something also totally new for little girls to say, like computer engineer. And we went through a lot because in Iraq, I'm originally from Iraq, so it's gone through a lot of wars, and we had to leave and we had to travel to so many places. But I'm happy in the end that I was able to like fulfill this dream and actually study computer engineering in Syria at the time. Before the war, everything was very good and stable. And yeah, so that's when I got my degree there. And then we went back to Iraq, and that's when I worked. So one thing that I had a lot of personal demons and issues. One of them being really the self-doubt, not being confident enough to kind of trust my skills, or always believe that, okay, I need to work harder. Like I still don't know. And also I was afraid to ask questions, which is the biggest mistake anyone can do. So all these things contributed to me being having to handle unnecessary pressure in work when I can just like reach out to people and say, hey, I need help with this. But no, I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure it myself. And that got me under a lot of pressures. That's when I decided actually to leave the work and like work by myself. And that went on like on and off. I worked on a couple of projects, but still I felt like because of this issue that I had, which is not reaching out to people, always thinking that I can do myself, which is like the biggest mistake anyone can fall into, is that got me to like reach out to some place and not get over not reaching my full potential, basically. And then we decided to leave to Turkey, and this was like a whole new and difficult experience because it was different language. We were me and my husband, we were married just for 6 months, and I was pregnant. And so it was like everything like was I didn't know what to do, what would be my next step. So yeah, this was the challenge, and this is when I discovered AI and started studying online courses, and yeah.
So you mentioned you didn't really enjoy the work initially, and
Yes.
you made the decision to go freelance. I can't imagine in terms of what was your thought process going into it. Like, what other options did you consider? Because going freelance is also a big risk, and I mean, it takes a lot of courage to do that as well.
Yeah, a courage, and maybe for me, when I'm looking back to it, I think I was a coward, actually, not a courage, because I had the environment to learn from other people. I had the chance to actually, people were around me telling me, Rasha, you're actually doing great, but I was like feeling, no, I'm not, and I was feeling like a lot of pressure, even though everyone like was really nice and they didn't put any pressure on me, but I was the one who's actually putting that pressure. And then I just go to my boss at the time and said, I just feel like I am being really, I feel like under a lot of pressure, and I'm not feeling very well. It was like a hell going to work. Even though when I sit in the laptop, I just start programming, I forget everything and I feel like this is perfect. But I just having like to do something specific, and I felt like I wasn't the person who was able to do the task or something like that, So so that's when I just asked him that, okay, I want to, and he even said like, okay, I will give you a break, and they contacted me again after like 3 months or so, but at the time we were leaving to Turkey, so yeah, it was like that. It was me, and this is something that I learned actually to cross or go over with once I started joining communities, and then I realized how amazing and powerful it is to be part of the community and to see people who are like you and understand that, okay, you're not the only one who's actually going through this. This is these insecurities and these fears. And it really changed me, starting with the Udacity community, which was a scholarship that I got at the time in 2018, by the end of 2018, and then Omdena community. So and that's when I also like discovered my passion about like how I want other people to feel the same way, other people who feel like isolated or they are having these challenges, that I also wanted to like help them out and get them to discover their skills and their potential, basically.
That's super interesting. So when you had issues and you decided to kind of change pace, do you think that was more attributed to the type of work that you were doing, or attributed more to the environment that you were in, maybe the people around?
Well, that's the thing. I think it was about me, not the work and not the people. And yeah, I had this constant, you can call it like fixed mindset, which is, if you don't know this, then I will never know it. Or okay, it's even though I didn't know that, but it feels like, okay, I either know it or don't. Like I forget that there's something called learning. Like there's learning process. No, like it's a natural thing that comes from from heavens. Like it's just like either I know it or don't. If I don't know it, then that's then I'm bad, something like that. So yeah, it's totally me, and it was totally me. It was not the people, not the work. And another thing is, I discovered that when I do something that I care about, I kind of forget all these things. So when I do something that really matters, like something I know that will make an impact, something that will make a difference, and this is what happened with me with the first Omdena project. Because the project was about malaria. It's about like eradicating malaria and in Africa. So I was thinking about the people that we are going to help. I was thinking about, all the women and children who got malaria. And so my fears and my insecurities, looked really insignificant then. And that's when I discovered, okay, so when I really have something that is bigger than myself, then I really don't start to notice all these things. And I'm more focused on the goal or the people that I'm helping. So yeah, this is also one key thing. While when I'm working on projects that, like, for example, creating an application for a restaurant or something like that, I don't feel motivated, and then my kind of insecurities comes out. So it's kind of this, this is how it was. But now I think when I understand this, that even the insecurities themselves are becoming like a secondary thing, or something that I realize that I'm part of a bigger community, and that there's a lot of people who are feeling the same way, and we're supporting each other. So yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, when you work on stuff that is truly interesting and it kind of piques your curiosity and engages you, you completely forget about anything else. You forget about yourself. You forget about the kind of, as you mentioned, the little demons that you have in your head that everyone has. And I think you mentioned the fixed mindset. I think at least I've experienced that as well, especially kind of coming out of formal education, formal school, particularly high school. There's such a rigid formal process. You don't really, there's no such thing, no concept as a growth mindset. You just think, okay, whatever I've learned here, that's it. I need to go to university, then I need to find a job, and that's kind of it. There's no push. There's no emphasizing of the fact that learning is lifelong, and as you kind of grow and develop in your career, you're going to learn new things. So you don't never assume that you that's it. You're finished learning.
Exactly.
So yeah, I have a problem with the formal educational system because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's that's the source of the issues. Yeah, exactly.
It is, yeah, and that kind of strict fixed mindset is the source of a lot of anxiety or a lot of issues subsequently. So it's really interesting that you kind of found your way through some passion projects to go beyond that kind of mindset and realize that actually I just need to work on things that passion me and things that are interesting. Was there a specific point in time where you kind of felt that difference of going from, oh wait, yesterday I thought my mindset is fixed and my abilities are fixed, but oh, I just had this experience and it made me realize, oh, there's a lot more out there. Was there a point in time?
Yeah. There's one point that I remember so clearly. It was in the scholarship. So we had the first in the group, we decided that, okay, we're gonna have like a meeting, and then every one of us will go through a topic and just explain it to the others. And I chose a topic, and then when my turn came up, my mind went blank. Like I couldn't remember anything, and I even told everyone, like, sorry, but I don't know what happened. Like this was the first time I kind of speak in public. It was my first time doing something like that. Mm-hmm. I spoke in public before, but in Arabic, and it was like totally different thing. And then I started, like, little by little, everyone was encouraging me. Oh, it's okay, Rasha, you can do it. And and I started little by little talking and everything, and then I realized, like, okay, if I do it like a couple more times, I would actually be really good at it. And then when I realized, like, that's the moment I realized, okay, that's when the moment I realized also, I think I became addicted to challenge, kind of. Like when something came across to me and I feel like there's fear, I know that this is a sign that, okay, I need to go in then. Like before I was feeling this, when I feel this feeling, I would run away right away. Now when I get this feeling, I was, okay, then this means that this is something like it's really sensitive to you. So that means it's that means you need to do it, because why otherwise you're feeling that way? Why are you feeling that it's a challenge or you're uncomfortable with it? Of course, it's not like I'm going to like a dark alley or something. It's just like it's a challenge in a professional way. So I go jump right in, and so this is the moment I believe that I discovered that Everything can be learned. And if you do it more than once, it's actually getting better and you're getting better. And people will not laugh at you. People will support you.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Most
true.
of the time.
Most of the time, we're often more aware of our own mistakes and more critical of our own sort of failure than other people are. Really, they don't care about us that much.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. It's you will pass. Yeah.
You mentioned the Udacity scholarship. How did you come across it?
Yeah. So actually, I heard it in the news. So UAE at the time, we were watching news, and UAE at the time like ran this 1 million Arab programming kind of competition, and it was all over the news and everything. And then I heard Udacity, so that's when I started like checking their websites, and I applied. I applied for if there's any scholarship. I just subscribed. They would send me an email. And right before that, also I was. That was a coincidence that I was working on. So even though I wasn't working officially in Turkey, I kept programming. Different things. So one thing that I did at the time, I worked on an Android game. I made just a game that is. A board game, just out of boredom. And then I was thinking, okay, how can I like integrate AI in this game, like to make the player play against the computer, or and make it a little bit smarter. And then I was curious about AI, and that led me to applying to scholarship for AI and deep learning. And one thing led to another, and I got accepted actually in the scholarship, and it went for 3 months. It was really amazing. I got accepted into the first round, and then the second round, and the nano degree phase, and it was really really amazing, and it was the one that got me into AI, and I felt like this is the perfect field for me because it merged technology with human and social aspects. So, and I can not like be kind of confined by just one field or doing one thing. I can do some medical project. I can do some agriculture, industrial project, social. So yeah, it was really amazing, and yeah, I'm hooked ever since, and I think AI is amazing, and it's going to. It is actually sorry, the word is escaped me. It's changing our lives, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big time.
Yeah. And so you joined the community, you mentioned the community, were they all online communities?
Yes. Yeah.
How did you find that? Was that something that was natural to you? You were very comfortable in that setting, or did you have to sort of adapt and learn?
Yeah, that was also surprising for me, but maybe because I traveled a lot. So me and my family, we traveled a lot and met a lot of people from different backgrounds. So it actually, and for me being an introvert, also I suspected that this will not be as enjoyable experience, but it was at the contrary, actually, because online you are in control of like you don't have people like barging in talk to you. So yeah, it seems it actually came across very comfortable to me, and I love interacting with people from different background and different experiences, and I always say that like in Udacity and in Omdena community both, you find yourself mentoring other and at the same time being mentored by others. And this is like the best environment you want to be in, because this is where you give your knowledge, and then you have also other people you learn from. So this kind of never ending circle of learning from each other and growing together. So it comes really natural and very comfortable.
No, that's nice then, because you weren't in the pandemic. You weren't really phased, I guess. Then when when things all shut down and
Exactly. No, it was like perfect timing because we were all together like online, and while the whole world was, yeah, it was perfect timing because otherwise I don't know what would I've done if I wasn't part of the. Everyone was going online, so it was like really perfect timing to being part of the community.
that makes sense. And so, what was your first project on Omdena like?
Yeah, it was about, like I said, it was about eradicating malaria, and at the time we used satellite imagery, which is like it's like not direct way. So you know that malaria is spreading through mosquitoes, and mosquitoes love, or they basically reproduce nearby water bodies. So the idea was to detect these water bodies and using satellite imagery to do that. And it wasn't easy because we needed to detect these really small water bodies that may not appear or might not be visible in the satellite imagery. So we needed to take other features and aspects into calculation. So it was really very challenging and very interesting, and also the fact that our solution will be used by a startup, so it's not just going to be like put aside. It's all these things that together got us really motivated. Yeah, and at the time, this was my first project, and I volunteered to be a task leader, which is something I didn't know that I would do, but thanks to someone really encouraging me. His name is Joseph. So if he's seeing this, thanks.
Shout out
So
to
he really
Joseph as well.
encouraged me. Yeah, shout out. And he really like reached out to me and said, Rasha, why don't you be like the task leader? You're really like motivated and dedicated to the project. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, but I need your help then. I need, like, I don't want to do this alone. And of course, like, I started, even though like he was supportive and everything, but he let me like do everything alone. And yeah, it was a very, very, so I went from like going blank in calls to like having calls with other members and like organizing tasks and presenting the work to the partner like in the every week. So yeah, and it was an amazing experience, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about like how to communicate and with people, how to like express my thoughts and my thought process and everything. And it really started also everything, and that's when I also like got more involved in Omdena and wanted to be like kind of more than just a collaborator that's working on volunteering in projects. Even though that was really satisfying, but I really, really wanted to be part of the team also. And so yeah, I kept working on projects, and then one thing led to another, and yeah, I got hired, and now I'm the head of town project. So it has been an amazing journey.
Nice. No, it's a nice way to get hooked, and it was. I guess Joseph presented a challenge to you. Do you want to be the task leader? And you're like, I'm scared, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the project as well because I grew up in Niger, West Africa, so I've had malaria plenty of times. I've been in a hospital plenty of times because of malaria.
Wow.
So yeah, definitely like something that really has an impact on people's lives. I made a quick jump. Do you want to tell our audience what Omdena is? Some of them might not be familiar.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So Omdena is a platform that it's an AI platform. What it do is like filling or like connecting the people who have companies, NGOs, startups who have the desire to build AI solutions, because like you you can imagine that maybe only big tech companies that at least like in the until the recent years, it was like only like those big companies and that were able to incorporate AI solutions into their infrastructure. So Omdena kind of tried to narrow this gap and allow them to build and integrate AI technologies, and at the same time, and this is like a big focus of ours, it's our community, our people. So there are also a lot of talents around the world who are really experienced, who are or looking to be more experienced with their AI skills, or also like want to work on projects. So these two are met together in an organized, in a bottom up organized way, and I can maybe talk more about this also, and building AI products and solutions and the goal is to deploy these solutions and not just to kind of building models with high accuracy and that's it. We want to make sure that these models are also integrated and deployed, and where companies and startups can use it and make impacts in the real world. So when I say startups and like we have worked with startups that working with refugees or creating language apps for to help children learn different languages, and also agriculture startups and companies. So with NGOs, so a lot of many impactful projects, and a lot of people who are actually learning and growing and building their skills. So yeah, that's kind of an overview.
That's I really like it. I like the mission and how you guys are essentially just bringing talent and skilled people to help solve those big social problems. So you're head of Top Talent Program. What do you do? What does your day look like?
Yeah, so Top Talent Program started later. So when maybe a year later, Omdena started working. So we noticed that, okay, we had the 8 weeks challenges where we have 30 to 50 people from around the world building solution for our partner, which can be any, like I said, an NGO or startup or so on. And these 8 weeks can produce an AI model, a machine learning model work that's working and giving really good results. But we noticed also that our partner would like to kind of move forward with this into like integrating this model with their current existing app, or maybe doing kind of more work or more basically like completing what want to build on the work that's been produced through the challenge, and that's when we realized, okay, we can benefit from this by also like supporting our community members who were really maybe did really well in the challenge and would like to continue and have, let's say, their first paid opportunity, the first paid project. And at the same time, we are also helping the companies to fully integrate the solution and also maybe doing more improvements to it, so optimization to it. And that's when the idea of Top Talent Program came in, and we started to select people who performed really excellent. They did excellent work in the challenges, and to carry and work with the companies and getting actually paid for it. Because in the challenges, it's a voluntary work. And yeah, exactly. So we found out that it's the perfect environment to reveal top talents, and you don't need to actually have you don't need to conduct any interviews. You don't have to get their CVs. So this is the usual process for us. I don't usually look into CV unless it's really something necessary. I don't conduct interviews because we already know from their performance in the challenge. They're interacting with others, the other people recommending them, how the technical skills in action. So it's like you have this perfect kind of playground where you can see people and how their work ethics, which is really, really one of the biggest factors that, like, I will weight work ethics more than skills in any time, because through experience, I know that anything can be learned now. And so it's important for me that the person has a real work ethics, and they respect and kind of motivated, and they feel like this project is theirs, and they are really connected to the project. So yeah, that's number one. And then anything else, it can be learned throughout the project time. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So what do you actually look at when you see someone's, is it a profile? Do you look at their portfolio? How's that? Like, I'm just curious practically, how does that look like? Because CVs, I think, we all know that they're not really a good representation of someone's actual skill set or mindset or way of working. It's just a list of things that may or may not reflect to some extent someone's capability on a job, but more often than not, it doesn't. So I was just curious, is it an internal platform or is it managed through spreadsheets? How does that look like?
Yeah. So we have the challenges, right? And the challenges is something that foreseen by either by me or by any other members of Omdena team. And in the end, in the final weeks, there's always these top 10 people that really they are the top performers in a given challenge. And knowing these people, and we know them because we are there during the calls with them, during them presenting their work, interacting with others. We really care about how they are carrying themselves and how they are being respectful when communicating with others, and how they are committed to the task they are working on. And we have a process that makes sure that these people are not just, the challenge over. It's not that they are forgotten. These people are known, and they are being recognized as the top performers. And of course, when a top talent opportunity comes up, their profile matches their skills, they've worked in similar project before, then these are the people that, of course, we would kind of select for the talent opportunity. So it seems really simple, and it is kind of also like as I said, it's a perfect setting, because if one person like performed in 8 weeks projects really well, and you kind of see how they work, how they are presenting themselves, it kind of give you like a really good idea about how they will perform also in the paid opportunity, because they already did it without even getting paid. You know what I mean? They are volunteering, and they are really putting their heart and soul into it. So getting paid is kind of becoming a secondary thing, and we also like carry out as a executing project that's also impactful. And it's really important to me to make sure that they know that we are not just, it's not a coding exercise. It's not something that we are not just programming things. We are really building something that millions and people may use, and they also go into. And the key thing is to make sure that this is something that fell within their growth path. So I want them to grow, and like after this, they get into this opportunity, and then I would love, even if they're really top performers, I don't want to really hold on to them to the other projects. I really want them to grow and get hired somewhere, and then we get the next people, set of people. So this is really also an important aspect for us. It's to kind of be this path where the people can go through and grow and go into like having bigger careers and bigger opportunities. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. And so how does it work from a company's perspective? A company comes in and they say, hey, I have this project. We're a startup, we're broke, or we have like a little bit of money to actually build a product, solve something. Can you guys help us? We need to build this predictive model to understand how weather patterns change so that we can, I don't know, advise agriculture companies on when to plant crops or whatever. What's the process? Company comes in, I assume they have to pay something for developing this, especially if they're not for profit.
Yes. Yeah, is this for, you mean for the challenge, or you're talking for the top talents, or just...
So I don't know, actually, that's the question. Yeah. How would a project go into the top talent program, and how would it go into the volunteering program?
Yes. Yeah, so it's totally the so first I'm not kind of part of this first call. It's the sales are the first of course point of contact, and then from there there's also members of our team that meet with them, and then it's decided that okay, a challenge is a perfect sense. A challenge is a good choice when you have an idea, but you're not sure about how, for example, you have an idea, you have data, but you're not sure like how to use it in your environment, in your work, in everyday work. You may have like you have a general idea, but you're not sure, and you want to try different things. So this is where the challenge is perfect, because you have all these people, all these minds coming together, and we always end up with amazing ideas and solutions. And then, okay, I have something interesting. Now I want to build this up and integrate this into my everyday work. I want maybe to have this integrated with the existing app, or I want to build an app from scratch and integrate this into it. And this is where top talent comes in, because in the challenges people focuses on the AI part. While in the top talent, it's AI, and it's actually software development / AI. So that's when everything is really comes together. And
it's implementation as well.
You end up with full product. Yeah.
So you guys are the SWAT team of Omdena.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very interesting. How do you have a process for determining who do you staff on a specific project? How do you find the complementary skill sets?
You mean, when you say staff, do you mean like the development team, or?
Yeah. So let's say a project has been kind of done as a challenge, and maybe a model was created, and now the need is to build a product around it, create a web app that actually implements it.
Yes.
How do you kind of think about, okay, we have this pool of people, how do we pick and choose the best that complement? It's the point of like, how do you choose the people that would work together in a complementary way? That's what I'm curious about.
Exactly. Yeah, so it depends. First, I make sure that the project is very well structured and understood, the scope, the goals, what is the problem we're trying to solve, what is the final product will look like. Everything needs to be completely clear beforehand. And then it's end up, okay, then when we have the scope of work, which is like when we have it and it's confirmed by the partner also, then it's easy, because we know that these are the things that we are going to work, these are the technologies that we are going to use. And it's a good thing that, because I'm also like coming from technical background, so that's why I think being a project lead or project manager it's in a tech field, it's really important for me to know what and understand what's the project is about, what are the technologies that are going to be used. And then so it's basically then we have this pool of people, we already know their skills. If we are not sure of also, we can ask them to provide more information about it. And yeah, it's like you said, it's like matching. If we have like a software and AI, we get an AI engineer and then a software developer with also AI background and data science background. So yeah, and they work together, and since we have everything well structured and clear, the work is go well. Of course, there's always unexpected things that can happen, but yeah, in every project. But overall, yeah, it goes really well.
Nice. That's very interesting. And how many projects have you managed so far in your career at Omdena?
Yeah, so far it's about 50 projects.
Wow. 50.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I also like go through back to it, and I say, oh my god, I feel like it's less, but yeah.
So is that like maybe like how big are the teams typically? Because then you must have worked with hundreds of people at this point then.
Exactly. Yeah. So the teams are small. So basically, we have 2 people working in the town project. Unlike the challenges where we have a lot of many people. So yeah, it's smaller. And sometimes I work with the same people like twice or 3 times. But overall, I really always. This is one thing that's also like I try to go out of my comfort zone when I. When we started a new project. Of course, I also work with our community manager who's helping with the selection, but one thing that I try to make sure when we decide the team is that okay, if we have to choose between if we have 2 people who seem really good and one of them like I've worked with before and it's really amazing and comfortable to work with, I would like to say, okay, let's try working with a new person and have this give the opportunity to someone new, and even though like it's going to be like this unknown factor, but it's something that we definitely always try to push towards, and yeah, and this is something that I forget the question, sorry. but yeah, this is something that we always try to strive for.
Yeah, definitely. Then you definitely have worked with at least like 100+ people. And in terms of the projects coming in, how have they evolved over time? Is there any trends in type of projects that are coming now compared to a few years ago?
Yeah. When we started, it was kind of a smaller project. It was also kind of similar to a challenge, but the partner maybe wanted to like optimize the models more. They wanted to do some minor changes, but now we are heading towards building actually products and more software development and deploying the models. Basically building the models and operating them in the real world, and having building softwares from ground up. So it's definitely evolved, and I can see that, and I even like told Rurep, who's our CEO, that the other day that I'm really like looking back. It's really I feel really proud of how much like we've gone through so far, and our projects like even grow and become bigger and more sophisticated, basically. Yeah.
And now, what's your next challenge as head of top talent? Is there like a big pressing issue that you're tackling as the company grows?
Well, that's a good question, because this is something I always try to think of, because it's I don't like feeling comfortable, and I think one of the not anymore.
Who needs it?
Yeah, so it's one thing that I started when I for example, when I joined the Top Talent, is that I really was technical. I was a machine learning engineer, and now I am a project lead, leading teams. So I was like, okay, I need to really look into this, leadership and management. So I took courses in project management. I really got deep into Scrum, and I'm falling in love with it. I think it's a perfect framework to manage teams, and yeah, I'm learning new stuff about to building how to build the team, how to measure project success, and not just measure, and just make sure that we are working towards our goal and achieving our goal in the projects, and catch any sign of any kind of risk as early as possible. So I think one of the challenges is that as projects become more complicated, it is important always to in every project I learn new thing, and how to maybe mitigate through certain risks, how to communicate with people from different background, and people are like really are unexpected and can do like unexpected things. So it's also, this is really important, and I've always been known as being a person who diplomat, something like that, you call like a diplomat person, which is something that I think works for me well in this, because I try to make everyone happy, kind of. But I think the challenge is always about people, and working with different people, clients or developers, making sure that this and getting my not making it personal, because so people can say things, or always try to be objective, and all these things. I think these are the biggest challenge, bigger than technical issues, actually, technical challenges.
Yeah, I really like the way you think about things. You're very thoughtful. One thing I've also noticed in one of your projects is that you still volunteer to translate scientific papers into Arabic to enrich the content that is online. And that just sparked an interesting question. What do you think, what does that knowledge base look like in Arabic, obviously compared to English? And what is the impact on AI development when you have a more restricted content base to train a model on?
Okay, thank you for bringing this up. So I think it's something that has been kind of an issue for a while, and still is, even though like a lot of people speaks English and know English, because we know that this is the source of most knowledge. So we have we study English from early age, and we learn English, but it's different when reading something in your own language, and a lot of people may not have this kind of this fluency in English that can read technical stuff in English, maybe just basic things. So it's really important, and you don't know what will happen. It's someone may read something and may say, oh, this is something I want to do, or this is something I want to know more about. So having this information translated is something very, very important, and because you reach basically a larger audience. And I know that I've seen a lot of people who read a topic, translate a topic, and say okay, I really didn't know this information, or I didn't know that. Thank you for translating. Thank you, either to me or someone else. So I mean, knowledge is everything, and it's kind of this is exactly, you can imagine you're in around some dark alley, and then you light a candle there and a candle there and a candle there. So it's like that. So it's like that. So and you spread the light. So definitely, it's very, very important.
That makes sense. One thing I also wanted to ask is, so you've traveled quite a bit between Iraq, Syria, Turkey.
Yeah.
How have you managed to find stability with work? Do you have a specific way of building routines, or how do you kind of manage everything?
I didn't find stability. So yeah, we traveled. We traveled actually to Jordan, Libya, Turkey, Syria, Tunisia. Yeah, so it's been a while.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So this is actually part of the issues that I can't find stability anywhere, and I feel like anywhere I stay in, it's been a year. I have to go, like something like that. Really. So yeah, here in Turkey, we've been here 9 years, so it's like a breaking record. I've never been more place for 9 years. So yeah, it's also mainly because my son also, like, I don't want to, even though it was nice when I was growing up moving, but actually when I grow up, I realized that, okay, moving a lot is actually, it's you don't get to kind of get attached to people and form relationships. So that's the downside of it. So yeah, I wanted him to have this, and yeah. So what was the question again? Sorry, about moving.
It was about finding stability.
Oh yeah, about stability. Yeah. Yeah. So actually, I was thinking the other day that if my work wasn't online, I don't know, like it's impossible to do, because you are working with people from different places around the world. Maybe, like, for example, we have 4 projects going on in parallel, and every project there are 2 people working on, and there's no person from the same country, so it's always 2 people from different countries. And I'm in Turkey, so, and the partner, of course, somewhere else. So I think working online is like perfect for me, and this is where I found the stability is. And more than anything, more than working anywhere else, because I can be also anywhere, and I can connect with the people. So yeah, before that, I don't think that I was able to find stability.
Nice, yeah. It's another aspect of working with software and AI is that you just have a lot more flexibility with regards to where you can work from and when you can work as well. So that's very important, especially when trying to build a family.
Exactly.
We're kind of approaching the end. Are there any final thoughts, any closing thoughts you'd like to share with our audience? Maybe with regards to, let's say, how would you think about, if you're a student now and you're transitioning into the world of work, how would you think about looking for jobs? How would you think about managing that process? Any tips?
Yeah. I would definitely, first thing I would do is volunteer in projects. I think a lot of us, at least from where I come from, they think of sometimes volunteering while doing work. I'm not talking about volunteering, helping other people. Like there's a voluntary work, and there is something like you volunteer your time working on projects and and you building your technical skills. There's this idea of you're wasting time, they are using you, all these things, when in fact I am going with the biggest benefit here, because I am building my skills from all around, and I'm building my network, and of course they are getting the benefit, but I'm also the one. It's like a 2-way street. It's not just 1-way street. And so working on projects with other people, and trust me, like at the time, Omdena felt like a dream for me, because I was thinking that's exactly what I wanted when I graduated. I wanted somewhere to allow me to work for free and just build something. I didn't want any money. I just wanted to work on something and learn things from other people. So it was like really perfect thing. And so if you can find this or similar environments, go ahead and this will give you like a really great start for your career and building your career after that.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank Thank you so
Really
much,
nice.
Rasha, for your time. This was a very insightful and inspiring conversation.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me, and yeah, it's been really nice talking to you.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully we can have you again soon on the pod. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.